The Boston Celtics are one of the most unstoppable teams in the NBA, and even though they had a little bit of a tough stretch with the Hawks, I still don't see anyone in the East that can beat this team, with Milwaukee losing to the Heat in shocking fashion. In this video, I'm going to talk all about why the NBA fears Boston, and I'm also going to show you some plays that they ran that the Hawks could not stop. But before I begin this video, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. I'm on the road to 10K subscribers, and I believe you all can help me get there. So, as I was just saying, I'm sure almost all of you know by now that the Celtics are headed to the second round thanks to a huge performance by Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown in Game 6, and with the Bucks losing in round 1, this next matchup of Boston and Philly could seriously decide the East. I don't know if I want to go that far yet though, because the Knicks have been looking legit even though they lost game 1, but in that Cleveland series, they faced a Cavs team that had no bench, and also, Playoff Jimmy Butler is nothing to mess around with. Anyways, I'm going to get into the Philly series later, and right now, I want to talk more about the Atlanta series, because statistically, the Celtics dominated, but the Hawks were able to steal 2 games, with one coming in dramatic fashion with a Trae Young game winner. Over this series, Jayson Tatum averaged just over 27 points per game, along with exactly 10 rebounds, and he also shot the ball better than normal for the postseason at 45%. He was also shooting nearly 40% from behind the arc. Like I said, Jaylen Brown also played very well this series and averaged just under 27 points per game with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. I can't go over everyone's stats because that would take way too long and would be boring, but there's a lot of guys that played very well in round 1, and overall, the Celtics are by far the deepest team remaining in the playoffs. Anyways, one thing I definitely feel like I need to talk about is how people on social media were talking down on the Celtics because the Hawks took them to a Game 6. This is just an absolutely unfair statement to make because yes, the Hawks did have a down year, but they are still a very good and streaky team that has 2 elite guards, and like I said, one of the Hawks' wins was for the most part lucky, and I think that overall the Celtics did a pretty good job in taking care of business. Alright, so now moving on, I want to talk about this upcoming Philly series because man, this is about to be a dogfight, and really, you can just basically label this series as the Eastern Conference Finals. Some positive news for the Celtics is that Gallinari has been rumored to be returning soon. I'm not sure how much he will actually play, but it's always good to get bodies back, especially when going against a team as physical as Philly is. I don't know if physical is actually the right word to use because Embiid is kinda soft and flops around on the ground all game, but you get my point. Honestly, if I was the Celtics going into this series, I think my game plan would be to just let Embiid score 60 and just lock down everybody else and focus heavily on Harden and especially Tyrese Maxey because he is such a sneaky 25 points a night player. The good thing for Boston is that since they do have so much depth, if the guards get tired of guarding those guys, they can always switch in and out. Okay, so now moving on to some plays that I noticed from the last game that I want to show you. Starting off here, we have a play early in the first quarter with Marcus Smart coming off of a Horford screen. I'm not really sure what Atlanta was doing defensively here, but because of the floor spacing and shooting the Celtics have, they forced Atlanta to switch, which created a big mismatch of DeJounte Murray guarding Horford, and Horford was able to just roll to the rim for an easy layup. And nobody could have crashed into contest because all 3 players on the weak side were lights out shooters. Next, this play happened in the third quarter, and this is one of those obvious ones for me to explain, but basically, Jayson Tatum had the ball and instantly drew a double team and was able to swing it over to a very wide open Grant Williams who was able to drain a 3. Again, the Hawks really had some questionable defense in this game, but you can just see why Tatum was in the MVP conversation because defenses are willing to leave guys wide open in order to throw double teams his way. Alright, so now one last play I want to show you guys is on defense, and here Murray is running around a screen and Robert Williams is able to come up and hedge, and because of the overall size of the Celtics, they can still hold their ground in the paint if somebody was there, while also respectively staying close to the shooters. I don't really need to talk too much about the Celtics defense because pretty much everyone already knows how great it is, but I just kind of wanted to point out what I saw from Game 6. Anyways, I just can't wait for this next series because in my opinion, Philly and Boston are the best 2 teams remaining in the East, like I said, but also maybe in the whole league. And I know these fan bases are gonna go at it. Let me know in the comments below what team you think is gonna win and by how many games, because I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys have to say. Also, let me know if you think Robert Williams should start in this series, because I don't know if Horford is gonna be able to guard Embiid by himself. In fact, I know he can't. But collectively as a unit, I think the Celtics will find a way to get it done, and even if they can't, they have such a high-powered offense that they can still win games even if Embiid goes off. One guy I also can't finish this video without talking about is Marcus Smart, because even though he isn't the biggest scorer, he's been improving and has been a big X-factor player for this team. One big thing that has stood out for me about Smart this season is his assist to turnover ratio, because it has been so good, and the Celtics really heavily rely on him to handle the ball at times, and Smart also has been averaging over 6 assists per game. Anyways, I can talk all I want about the role players on the Celtics because they are a huge part of this team's success, but if the Celtics want to beat Philly and ultimately win a championship, it's going to come down to the play of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because they have to show up and play like the superstars that they are, and it can't just be one or the other. They have to work together as a unit. Anyways, that's really all I have to say for this video. I am just so excited to watch this series unfold, and really, across the whole NBA, these are turning out to be some great round 2 matchups. I can't believe that we are going to get to see LeBron vs. Curry again for one final time. It's almost like we get to live out nostalgia. That's gonna wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did and have not already, make sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly means the world, and we are just getting closer and closer to hitting 10K. Also, make sure to stay tuned for more content in the future as the NBA season starts to wrap up, which is just crazy to say. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.